What's up, everyone? This is the last video of the series, video number 4. Hopefully this introductory series is helping you guys, just putting all the info in one place.
And we're trying to make it as concise but informational. This
video is going to be about frequently asked questions, and there is a lot of them that come up very regularly. KETOCONNECT. We have a website, KETOCONNECT.net. That has a bunch of recipes. Also, it has some blog posts just about starting keto. One of them is linked in the description that summarizes this entire series. So you can go read that if you want a little bit more in-depth info on how to start keto.
And we also have a podcast, Keto for Normies. We interview a ton of interesting different people, doctors, bodybuilders, nutritionists. What's the fastest way to get into ketosis?
I hate this question because it doesn't matter the fastest way. All that matters is the way that you're going to be able to stick to for the longest amount of time.
Right.
Literal fastest way is just not to eat anything, doing a bunch of exercise like that type of thing. But that's not what we recommend. We don't recommend doing anything in a fast mindset. Should be long term. You should be thinking long term. Think about the whole dieting industry in general. There's all these cleanses, master cleanse. It just promises very fast results.
Yeah.
You just this sacrifice for 10 days. And then the rest of your life is just going to be easy. It doesn't work like that.
And fat burners, carb blockers, there's tons of pills. Terrible way to get into any state fast.
Yeah, so the fastest way to get into ketosis is the worst question you could be asking, basically.
Well, it says something about your mindset, and maybe transitioning that question into what's the best way to start a keto diet that can be sustainable long term.
Exogenous ketones come up a lot. So the ketones you produce in your body, naturally endogenous ketones. Exogenous ketones are ketones produced outside the body that you drink. Our thoughts on them are that they're useful in certain contexts, probably not in the context you're hoping for. They don't help with weight loss at all. They're not a weight loss supplement. They're more of a performance enhancing supplement, maybe a little bit of focus enhancing. One benefit, and I think it's actually a big placebo to a lot of people that swear by these things, is that they're really filled with electrolytes just because the ketones are binded to electrolyte molecules. So when you drink the ketones, you start feeling really good, but it's mostly just because of the electrolytes, in my opinion. There's a lot of multi-level marketing companies in the ketone industry, so if someone's messaging you, telling you how it changed their lives, they're probably also going to hit you up with their affiliate link. There's a few companies we would buy from. There's Perfect Keto and there's Keto Logic. Those are the two I would recommend if you want to try them. You don't need them though.
We do have a coupon code with Perfect Keto, though. 20% off. KETOCONNECT is the code.
I'll link that in the description.
Yeah.
So if you have an expendable budget on supplements, throw this relatively high on your list. I would say creatine, fish oil, maybe a protein powder, then this would be somewhere in there. Does a certain thing break a fast? A lot of people will ask about bulletproof coffee, bone broth, certain things like that. Does it break a fast? The whole thing is why are you fasting? What's your goal in mind? If you're going for different things, then certain things break that, I would say. So if you're just going for weight loss, breaking your fast doesn't matter at all. So bulletproof coffee in the morning, if that's something that helps you keep your hunger in check more throughout the day, I would say no, that doesn't break your fast.
Right.
Yeah, so if you're also going to try to repair insulin resistance, things like that, bulletproof coffee in the morning probably isn't going to mess much with that either. But if you're going for autophagy, I would say bulletproof coffee does break that.
And it also depends on what you're intaking. So Matt mentioned bulletproof coffee and bone broth. So bone broth does have some protein in it, and that just by default itself, carbs and protein will always break your fast.
I would say
no
specifically bone broth because it has a lot of glutamine in it, and glutamine is a trigger for stopping autophagy. So autophagy is the cell regeneration, basically your old cells being killed and regenerated into new cells. It's a therapeutic thing. It's beneficial to have that going on. Bone broth cuts into that hardcore. Don't do bone broth if that's what you're going for.
And so then the best bet is to just stick with fats. So people always ask about heavy cream, butter, and then also stevia. So we work out, we drink fat coffees before we work out, and that to us is totally fine. It's not intaking meals and carbs and protein. And then stevia, we've done tests with stevia and found that it doesn't really impact your ketosis. So if you're adding some stevia, you're likely not going to have an issue in that regard either.
Yeah, I would say there's 2 tiers to breaking a fast. One is consuming anything whatsoever. That breaks a calorie fast.
Yes.
So that breaks certain benefits of fasting. The second step would be any kind of protein or carb. So if you're just doing fats like a bulletproof coffee, you preserve some of the benefits, not all. Should you count total carbs or net carbs? Some people differ on this. I think net carbs is probably the best way to start. Under 20 net carbs. You do want to keep in mind a little bit total carbs. Like if you're just going nuts, if you're doing Quest bars all day, that's going to also not be optimal.
You don't want like 90 total carbs and 20 net carbs.
That's
not optimal.
And a lot of these products that are made nowadays are like 27 grams of fiber. Start with 20 net carbs. Keep the fiber reasonable. Like if you're going over 50, a lot of people will also say 50 total carbs. I think both of those are good metrics. Don't go over 50 total. Don't go over 20 net. But we always say less carbs is better. So, keep it lower if you can.
And that's what we've learned over the past 2 years. So if you're just starting, and that's the purpose of this series, then you're good with 20 net carbs. And net carbs is total carbs minus any fiber and sugar alcohols.
So that brings us to the next question, which is all the different sweeteners, sugar alcohols you can have on a keto diet. Instead of talking about it here, we can pretty much just refer you to a video we did. I'll link it above and in the description. It's where we test every sweetener you might want to have. But a quick summary of that is we eat stevia, erythritol, and monk fruit.
Russell Stover candies have a ton of maltitol. So do a lot of protein bars. Read the labels, read the ingredients. If maltitol's in there, you kind of just want to stay away.
Do I need to eat a lot of fat to lose fat? Differing answers depending on who you talk to. We'll give our opinion on it. I think you do want to eat a lot of fat if you want to lose fat. Rather than just viewing it from losing weight, losing fat, I think you should view it from healing your body and feeling really good. And if you eat a lot of fat, that is what makes the diet sustainable. Like you don't have to go nuts, but you don't want to really limit it too much either. I know a lot of people will recommend more of like 30% protein, 35% protein if you're trying to do a fat loss keto protocol. It might actually help you lose more weight, but I don't think you're going to feel as good and you won't be able to do the diet as long. You won't like feel really good about the diet. Like, whoa, this is life changing, basically. That's how you want to feel about it. And I think if you're doing closer to 80% calories from fat.
If you're really full at the end of the night and you haven't hit your fat macros, totally fine. You don't have to hit them, but we just say you definitely want a higher fat percentage versus your protein percentage. You're going to feel most optimal. I even get like a personal energy boost. If after my fat coffee, I'm like on fire. I can focus, I can do everything. And so when most of my meals are a high percent fat, I just feel good throughout the day.
Okay, questions about carb cycling and the different protocols for a keto diet. Commonly you'll see 3 different ones. There's standard keto diet, cyclical keto diet, and a targeted keto diet. We've tried them all. Standard keto diet is what we currently do. It's what we would recommend. It's what we think is the best. Targeted keto diet is a little bit of carbs, about 10 to 15 grams pre-workout or post-workout, not both, just one or the other. That is a decent option.
Cyclical keto diet is when you're cycling in full days of carbs. So 1 every 7 days, 1 every 10 days, 1 every 2 weeks. So we did once a week for 4 weeks. So 1 every 7 days, we would swap out all the fat grams for just carb grams. So it's a very high carb, low fat day.
So after doing all of these, I would say the reason I was prompted to want to try these things is maybe because I wasn't doing standard keto good enough. My carbs were a little bit too high. Going lower carb than I was prior to trying all these things has fixed that. Like I do maybe 15 total carbs, 10 total carbs a day now, and I feel great. But when I was doing a little bit higher carb, more like 50 total carbs, I wasn't feeling as good. Targeted keto diet, I would maybe recommend. That's not a bad idea. But cyclical keto diet, I wouldn't even call it a keto diet, honestly. I don't think you're getting most of the benefits from doing keto. You just feel low energy all the time.
And although I agree with what he says about cyclical keto diet, you don't really feel like you're doing a keto diet. You don't get the benefits. For me, targeted keto diet, when we did that, it wasn't enough of a boost in the gym, whereas cyclical keto diet, all those carbs really did give me a great gym performance, which I loved. But overall, I think carbs for me are more of a slippery slope. I don't bounce back as quick. I was like hungover the next day. I also kind of went into it thinking more so I needed the mental satisfaction of eating the carbs. It had been 2 years. I missed this, I missed that, I missed bread. It kind of also just reminded me that I feel so great on keto. I don't need carbs to be happy. Food shouldn't be the reason I, get up every day.
Our take on any kind of carb ups is pretty much not good.
Not needed.
What do I do when I hit a plateau while I'm doing keto?
So first thing to note is that plateaus are totally normal for your body to want to do at a certain point, and it happens different times for everyone. And it's going to happen. So don't be upset when it does. I think the biggest key is to just stick it through and continue on. And eventually your body will just readapt and readjust and you'll start to lose weight again.
Also, you maybe want to do like a little analysis on what's going on in your diet. Like, are your carbs really under 20 grams net carbs daily? Are you like, where are your calories at? If you're on a really long plateau, like a month or two weeks to a month, maybe just check in on how everything's going.
Right.
Track your macros for a day or two. Make sure you're doing things right. And if you are, then just stick to it. And that is a wrap on the series, guys. The most important thing of all this, you can watch YouTube videos all day. You can read the internet all day. You got to just start doing stuff. Yeah. Take action. You'll figure things out along the way. You don't have to know it all right now.
And if you do have any pressing questions, every single Sunday we do a YouTube live. You can come check us out. And then on every single morning at 9 a.m., we do Instagram live for 9 minutes. And it's a smaller group of people, so it's more personal and we answer every single question.
And if you want a little bit more guidance along the way, you can check out our meal prep course, which is linked in the description of this video. And that's it, guys.
Thanks for your love and support all throughout last year. 2018 year is going to be amazing.